Hi, I'm Greta, and over the last 10 years, I've grown over 20 million followers combined across my Instagram accounts. And I'm here today to show you guys through the exact resource that I use to train my team on how to explode an e-commerce brand's Instagram account. So what I'm going to be doing today is working through this doc, and I'll take you through and give you kind of like our overall Instagram management process and then dive a bit deeper into some of the steps involved as well. So we have at the top the overall goal for Instagram account management, which is to create an Instagram feed which is optimized for growth and conversions, that acts as a landing page for all of our influencer work, for our brand's Instagram ads, as well as an organic sales channel for our brand. So the goal is to turn your followers into your customers, so monetize your audience on social. So that is just a good starting point to realize what we're trying to kind of achieve through Instagram management as a whole. I've separated this out into the starting out stage, so like kind of one-off activities, and then ongoing activities that you need to continuously do to maintain your brand's Instagram account. So starting off, and I do go into more detail about these below, guys, so don't worry if I skip over things quite quickly and you're like, what's a content territory? We're going to go into that. So starting out, we have our feed strategy, so defining our content territories or our content pillars. Then we have optimizing our bio, setting up relevant story highlights, feed planning. Maybe you might want to plan like the first 9 to 12 posts, setting up saved collections for curated content. So for my brand Drop Bottle, for example, it might be a saved infused water recipe collection or hydration tips collection, so that we have content backed up, ready to go. And I go into more detail about this later again. And then we have a post schedule as well. So like how often or like how frequently will we be posting? Maybe daily, alternating between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., for example, is a good kind of best practice. Then we move into our ongoing tasks. So obviously posting, so content selection, caption creation, and always crediting the original creator if there is an original creator. So if you're resharing one of my posts, you just tag @Greta. Then we move on to content sourcing. So if you do have a team to work with you on this, otherwise just doing it yourself, to send relevant content to the brand account from your own account when you see it. So whenever I'm on Instagram personally myself, when I see a good post for one of the brand accounts or for one of the other accounts that I help manage, I just flick those straight across to those relevant accounts so that when I go into that inbox, I've got lots of content to then save to those curated collections. Reposting stories and saving the best ones to the relevant highlights, tagging products where relevant in product posts, using relevant hashtags, so up to 30 there. And then we have growth partnerships, brand or influencer giveaways. If you Google tag to win, our Hey Influencers blog post should come up first for you guys. Otherwise, if you head across to our Hey Influencers website, you can see exactly how to hold a tag to win competition. And we've just recorded a video on this as well with Foundr, so you'll be able to check that out too. And just a quick tip as well, just not to overthink it. It's better to move fast, and you can always change a caption or remove a post if you need to. So don't get so overwhelmed with the overall feed aesthetic that you don't keep moving forward and posting consistently, because consistency is really key here. If you post every second day and your post gets a reach of 200, say that's 3 days a week, then you're getting about like 600 in reach. Literally, if you just up that to posting every single day and the post is 200, that's 1400 reach in a week. So it's pretty simple and clear why we should be posting pretty consistently. Plus, the algorithm sort of favors people and accounts that do post more consistently. So that does take us perfectly into kind of the factors that affect the Instagram algorithm. And I'm just going to skip over these quite quickly. You can go really deep on these, but it's just important to note that Instagram is a business, and as a business, they want to keep us, the users, on the platform as much as possible and for as long as possible. So as frequently as possible and for as long as possible, because that optimizes their revenue through how many ads they're able to serve to us, basically. So that is Instagram's goal overall. So thinking about how that would affect your brand, how can you keep your followers engaging and keep them coming back to your brand profile and getting, I guess, that post stay time, they call it. So how long somebody spends on your post, commenting on it, engaging with it, and basically the overall time spent viewing that post. So the 7 key factors that affect the Instagram algorithm are engagement, relevancy, relationships, timeliness, so like how recent the posts are. And actually Instagram just announced that they're bringing back the chronological newsfeed next year, which is crazy. I'd like to see how that's going to work out. Profile searches, direct shares, and the time spent, like we were just talking about before, so the duration of time spent viewing a post. So they're the factors that mainly affect the algorithm, and they're good to know, obviously, from like a foundational sort of point of learning here. So moving on from the algorithm, we want to head into our initial profile setup. So this is where we're able to optimize our social profile for conversion. So basically what we want to look at is our feed, our bio, and the link that we're using in our bios. So because this training is optimized toward my influencer marketing team at Hey Influencers, we will be addressing the initial profile setup from the stance of how to optimize our profile for influencer campaigns to convert as well as possible. So our feed should have a similar kind of like overall look and feel or aesthetic to the influencers that we're collaborating with. And that's because when an influencer posts your product, the follower will head across to your brand profile. And if that is really kind of like incongruous with their feed, they're much less likely to follow through and buy from your brand because it is just less consistent and it may not feel as authentic to the follower. In terms of our bio, we want to look at what our product is. So like your UVP of your product, maybe some social proof and a call to action. So for Drop Bottle, we have the eco-friendly glass infuser bottle. We have the eco-friendly glass fruit infuser bottle, water with benefits, make tasty vitamin-rich waters in minutes, back in stock, dropbottle.com. And then obviously, that link just links through to our website as a whole. Sometimes if you're, a fashion brand, for example, you might want to link through to one of those shoppable Instagram bios. Otherwise, another thing is if you have multiple e-commerce stores, like our client, the Udi, we link through to a link tree there that then links through to like the Australian store, Canadian store, US store, UK store, etc., so that people can locate the right store for themselves to shop from straight from that bio. So the link in your bio can be really powerful. So moving on to our story highlights. So coming up with some potential ideas. It's always a good idea just to check out other brands in the space or within your niche as well. So you could check out Drop Bottle, Healthish, Bang & Body, Frank Body. All of those brands have quite good Instagram management practices as a whole. And obviously it's just then about saving the best stories to your highlights. You want to add icons to the story covers for each highlight, or just a consistent sort of theme so that your profile looks consistent with your branding when somebody lands on it. And then for some potential story highlight ideas, we've got like reviews, results, customers, or whatever you call your community, whether it's like your fam, your tribe, your squad, whatever you call them. And then like, for example, like our bottle, like with Drop Bottle, maybe media or as seen on, behind the scenes, events, particular collaborations. For example, if you've collaborated with like a big podcaster or something like that, or a large influencer, you might want to highlight and kind of, I guess, anchor that to your feed. What we're really looking for here is like, basically like adding as much value through our highlights as possible. So that might be value in terms of, how your product works, or tutorials or recipes, that type of value. Or it could be more so social proof as well, so that people can understand and read reviews, see results, and testimonials from customers or media or influencers for your brand and on your brand's behalf so that they're more likely to trust your brand. Oh, here's a little note here just about stories, because I said this is a training that's very much for our influencer marketing team, but don't reshare stories that feature influencer discount codes, because if you reshare those stories, you won't be getting an effective idea of how many times that code was used on that influencer's behalf. So moving on to feed strategy. So now that we've done the sort of like initial profile setup stage, we now can move on to what I referred to earlier as content territories. These can also be referred to as content pillars at times, but they're basically categories of content that mean that you'll never be sort of short of a post ideas. So with Drop Bottle, for example, we have 5 content territories, and I think that these are quite applicable to most brands. So that's why I wanted to include Drop Bottle and our 5 content territories here. So we have our Drop Bottle community, so like celebrating our community, user-generated content or influencer-generated content, emotional connection, inclusivity, you know, like relatable types of posts, influencers and influentials, so like storytelling types of posts, and kind of like us and our team. So everything kind of like people related, it falls into kind of like our first content territory. So I'm sure you can already think of some posts that you'd be able to do for your brand off the back of that as well. Then we have product and promotions. So this is things like product USPs, so like unique selling points or UVPs, unique value proposition. So what you offer, and then things like your brand values, your storytelling on your brand's behalf, and other kind of promotional type things. So it might be marketing campaigns. It might be the fact that your Black Friday campaign's just launched, or your Valentine's Day sale is launched, or another seasonal sort of marketing activity or campaign is launching as well. And then also things like giveaways, like so a tag to win giveaway, for example. So that is the product and promotions category. So moving on to our third content territory, which is educate. So this is where we can really add value for our follower or potential follower as well. So kind of like around your product, educating around your product, but also around the niche that your product is in as a whole. Then we have content pillar 4, which is empower. So if your brand is like a part of a larger movement, every drop counts, or one bottle. So replacing all of the single-use plastic that you would use with this one glass bottle. So that's sort of from a sustainability sort of perspective, like if you have a social cause or just kind of like relevant things to your brand. If there is a sustainable sort of aspect, it might be World Earth Day. And then coming in at number 5, in our content territories or content pillars, we have entertain. And this one is kind of building, like relatability with our brand as well. So memes and quotes, and it's a bit more fun. It's like not every brand should take themselves too seriously all of the time. So this is where you can have a bit more fun with your audience as well. So might be memes and quotes, could be plays on words, or it could be kind of like viral content within your niche. As you can see across those 5 territories, you can come up with lots of different ideas for content so that you're never sort of stuck for ideas, and then you can alternate through those. So that's what I call content weighting. So it's like weighting how much of each territory you want to show all the time. So maybe product and promotions could be like every second post, because at the end of the day, we're a brand or a business, we're a commercial entity. We might want to, have a bit more about our product and about our kind of like marketing campaigns featured there. And then, you might alternate between your community, educate, empower, and entertain. So it might be like one community post, one product and promotions, one educate post, one product and promotions, one empower post, one product and promotions, one entertain post, one product and promotions. So you can see the way that depending on where you want the most emphasis to lie, you can kind of start to weight the content territories in different ways and create like a posting pattern, because you've got to do this day in, day out. It's much easier to have a pattern so that when you go to post, you're like, okay, I'm up to an educate post and I'm going to do a recipe for the educate post. So that way you kind of never run out of content. So that was part one, and we covered sort of the foundations of Instagram management here. So we covered the algorithm and sort of like the foundations in terms of your initial profile setup. And then we also obviously covered our content territories as well, which is our feed strategies. So that is the foundations. In part two, we'll be covering how to manage a live Instagram account. So I will see you in the next video.
Hey guys, hope you're loving our videos and that you're getting heaps of value from them. If you are, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to join the Foundr fam. If you did enjoy this video and want to continue to master your skills, make sure you click here to access your free training now, where we'll go into way more depth with this Foundr.